Have you ever wondered if you could survive a zombie outbreak on a ship? Because you just signed up for a luxury cruise, but you got a floating coffin. There's no land and no rescue. And somewhere below deck, people are turning. But what are you really stuck on? It's not just a boat, it's a floating city. Most of them have restaurants, gyms, theaters, casinos, spas, pools, nightclubs, hell, even shopping malls and mini hospitals, all powered by complex systems. Electricity, water treatment, water control, and circulation. Everything you need to live or die. It almost sounds like a survivor's paradise, except now it's crawling with the undead. Before we dive in, let's set some ground rules. You're already on the ship when the outbreak hits, trapped at sea with thousands of strangers and no way off. You're on your own unless you decide to team up. And zombies? Classic walkers, slow, mindless, but dangerous in numbers. Let's break it down and figure out if you'd actually make it out alive. It might start off with one infected passenger. Maybe it's a crew member, maybe it's a tourist returning from shore. Either way, it slips past unnoticed until it's far too late. Cruise ships are designed for luxury, not lockdowns. They do have basic protocols for real-world disease outbreaks, but those systems are small-scale and fragile. Isolation cabins and quarantine zones might delay the spread, but they don't stand a chance on people starting to turn. And when someone turns, panic spreads faster than the infection. Their layouts prioritize open spaces, entertainment, and passenger flow, not containment and definitely not security. Passengers are running, screaming, and fighting to survive, and the crew is completely overwhelmed. Lifeboats start dropping before you even find your shoes. By the time the alarms go off, half the ship is already in chaos. Can you actually escape your cabin and find safety before the ship turns into a floating death trap? Because once it starts, there's no pause button. Just teeth and cold metal hallways in the middle of the ocean. Cruise ships might be massive, but inside, they are a maze of tight corridors, locked cabins, and blind stairwells. Elevators are death traps. If the power goes out, and it will, they stop wherever they are, and you're stuck. No way out, no control, just a metal box waiting to be opened from the outside. Even worse, if you take one while infected passengers are moving through the ship, you're a sitting duck. One stop on the wrong floor and you're cornered. Your classic zombies might not sprint or climb, but in these cramped halls, they don't need to. A few of them block a path and that's it. You're trapped. No space to run, no room to dodge. Every hallway is a gamble, every corner could be your last. Here's a quick survival tip. As soon as shit hits the fan, find a flashlight and a weapon fast. Light your path and never walk blind into a corridor without an exit strategy. Most cruise ships are legally restricted from carrying real firearms. At best, there might be a locked armory for security staff, and even that's probably just a few sidearms or batons, and very few people have access to it. So good luck trying to get one of those weapons. Unless you get extremely lucky and find the key, you're improvising. But here's a few things you can use. Kitchen knives, fire axes, brooms or mop handles, bar stools, and metal poles. Tools worth finding are flashlights and batteries, radios, duct tape, rope, zip ties, and fire extinguishers. You can use it to put out fires or blunt force trauma.
What are you doing?
Here's a few critical locations you should be looking for. The medical bay, for first aid, antibiotics, and morphine. Engineering, loaded with tools, control panels, and possible access to the ship's backup power systems. Dangerous but useful. And the kitchen, more than just food, you've got blades, heavy pots, and fire. And a decent place to hunker down if you're not already overrun. The security office. It might have radios, access cards, maps, and if you're insanely lucky, a sidearm or two. But it's probably locked up tight in an armory somewhere. As supplies dwindle and panic sets in, survivors stop working together and start looking out for themselves. Someone locks down the kitchen, now it's a war zone. The medical bay, claimed by whoever got there first. And if water starts to run out and somebody decides to stash some away for themselves, well, good luck trying to get some without a fight. It's not going to be easy. It's not just desperation, it's paranoia. People don't trust each other. They lie about bites, they hoard food, they sabotage escape plans, and in a place this cramped, one violent person can take out an entire hallway of people. If you thought the infected were the only threat, think again. People will kill for access to supplies, or the last working lifeboat. Some might even use the zombies to their advantage, luring them towards rival groups just to clear a path. If you boarded the ship alone, you might be better off staying that way, but if you prefer the group dynamic, then you could go and team up with somebody. Power outages mean no lights, no water, no ventilation. The air starts to rot. With no airflow, the ship becomes a floating oven full of decay, sweat, and smoke. Breathing gets harder by the hour, especially with bodies piling up. Hallways become pitch dark tunnels of death. No emergency lights, no indicators, just darkness and the sound of distant groans. And then there's the weather. Without anyone steering the ship or checking forecasts, you're drifting blind into the open ocean. If a storm hits, there's no one at the helm, no one manning the controls, and no way to stabilize the ship. High winds and rough seas can tip equipment, slam infected bodies into barricades, and flood the entire deck. A flooded deck can short out the electrical panels above it. When one system fails, the rest follow. Fire doors either jam shut or stop working entirely. Refrigeration cuts out, now all your food is rotting. Plumbing backs up, turning every bathroom into a disease-ridden biohazard. Fires can start in kitchens or electrical rooms, and nobody's left to stop them. Flooding can block escape routes or seal off entire decks, especially lower levels where water collects fast. If you're caught below when it happens, you might not get out. A storm doesn't just wreck the ship, it shakes your hope for survival as it tosses you around a metal coffin. Clear the ship, or hide and hope the infected slowly die off. There is no perfect plan, but if I were to do it, this is what I would do. You'll need to clear vertically, deck by deck, so we'll start here. Seal off stairwells and narrow corridors. Set traps using noise to lure the infected away. Use furniture, shelves, and anything heavy or sturdy to block off dangerous areas and control where the infected can move. Set up fallback points. If a hallway gets breached, you need somewhere to run. Avoid large open areas like theaters or dining halls. Once zombies flood in, there's nowhere to retreat. You'll also need to ration supplies as you go. Secure food and water caches inside cleared areas, not just where you found them. And don't forget, exhaustion can kill you. If you're running non-stop, fighting, dragging supplies, and sleeping with one eye open, you're going to break down, eventually. Even if you carve out a safe zone, you're not out of danger. Cruise ships use desalination to convert seawater into drinkable water using energy-intensive systems. And if you have no power, that means you have no water. And if you have no water, that means dehydration. As for food, most of it is perishable. Once the freezers go down, you're racing the clock before everything spoils. And medical supplies, there's usually one med bay. And once it's raided or locked down by someone else, that's it. No backup, no restock. Sanitation becomes a nightmare. Plumbing backs up, toilets overflow, and the whole place starts to reek of shit. And then there's the psychological strain. Constant noise, moans echoing non-stop down the pitch black hallways, knowing there's something shuffling nearby while you try to sleep. You'll start hearing things and seeing things. And it will wear you down, sooner or later. You're not meant to live like this, not for long at least. Cruise ships do have long-range communication systems, including satellite phones and emergency distress protocols. But can you actually get a message out before the power fails? And even if you do, will anyone come? Quarantine laws might force authorities to ignore the signal entirely to avoid risk. Hell, they might even just drop a bomb on your head to deal with the problem quickly. Alright, now I'm sure some of you are wondering, could you retake the ship if it beaches itself? Technically you can, but keep in mind it will have structural damage. Regardless of the damage, there's still a lot of potential here. You've got a massive structure with limited entry points. It's great for defense. Desalination systems, if repaired, could provide endless water. The ship's height gives you major advantage in spotting threats or defending. You could fish off the side and grow basic crops in containers on the deck, but there's a massive cost. You'd have to clear out every infected body, repair broken systems with limited parts, sanitize everything because it reeks of literal human feces from overflowing toilets. You'd also have to fight the mental weight of reclaiming the same place where you watched hundreds of people die. So yeah, maybe it's possible, but the question isn't just could you retake the ship, it's would you even want to? And even if you did, what's your plan for power? The ship's not running on the power of hopes and dreams. You need fuel for the generators, spare parts to repair them, and someone who actually knows how to keep those systems running. An average Joe just can't do it. Without power, you can't produce fresh, drinkable water, no lights, no refrigeration, and no way to make this place livable again. So, could you survive a zombie outbreak on a cruise ship? Solo survivor rating. I'm gonna give it a rating of 2 out of 5. Pros. You avoid group politics, power struggles, and sabotage. You can move quietly, hide easier, and attract less attention. No one lies about being bitten, no one hoards supplies behind your back, or puts a knife in it. Cons. No one to help clear zones out or watch your back. You'll exhaust yourself doing everything alone. One mistake, one bad fall, one locked door, could be game over. Solo means stealth over strength. If you're smart and quiet and ruthless, your odds are slightly better than they should be, but they're still pretty bad. Group survival rating. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I know earlier I said it might be smarter to avoid people, and in a lot of ways that's still true, but I still give groups a slight edge in survival, at least early on. Here's the catch. The longer you're stuck on the ship, the more unstable things get. Supplies run out, tension builds up, trust breaks, and what started as cooperation turns into conflict, and that group advantage, it starts to disappear. Fast. Let's look at the pros. Teams can divide labor, rotate who's on watch, and hold more ground. You have more group skills like mechanics, medics, and fighters. Better mental health support by having more people around you. Cons. You can't trust everyone. Paranoia is high, supplies are limited. One selfish or infected person can doom everyone. Conflict, sabotage, or hoarding can break the group up. Bottom line, a group gives you more tools, but also way more risk long term. You have better chances clearing areas and surviving together, but only if the group doesn't fall apart. And on a cruise ship, full of strangers, that's a big if. Alright, and I want to hear from you guys. What would you do differently? What did you agree with and what did you disagree with? Drop a comment below. This channel's still new and growing, and your feedback helps me know if you want to see more of this type of content. So if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, share your thoughts, and if you're into realistic zombie survival scenarios, consider subscribing. It won't save your life when the dead start walking, but it might make the end of the world a little bit more interesting. If you're seeing my stupid ass face right now, it means you made it all the way to the end, and I appreciate that very much. Again, I want to thank everybody for all the support and the positive feedback in the last video. I still think it's kind of surreal. And basically, you're the reason I keep making these videos. So hopefully I can keep putting out content you enjoy, and again, leave me feedback in the comments, share your suggestions. Peace.